3, 2, 1. We are live on episode 8 of Zach and Jay Show. That's 2 episodes in a row. I knew which episode it was, so we're on to something here. We're back in our
good.
We're back.
We're back, baby. I love the background of our podcast studio. Our curtains are non-existent, but we do have one, and it's a cardboard box that our table from IKEA came in, and it's propped up with a board.
You can see it on the Instagram.
You can see it on my Instagram at Zach HOMOL'S. It's fucking hilarious.
We're still in the process of rehabbing the office.
Let's not even say process. We haven't done shit.
Hey, when we got in here, Charlie's got the video.
We haven't done shit in 3 months.
I know, but when we got in here, though, it was a wreck. It had puke orange paint. The carpet was terrible. It was like those little squares that you put down individually. There was rat poop in the ceiling, which there still is rat poop up there. Probably we haven't done anything with the ceiling. It was a mess though, and we literally did. We talked about how we kind of what we did. We came in, we did new paint, we did new carpet.
Yeah. So I don't think we talked about it.
No, I don't think so. We kind of just skipped over.
It was a cool experience. So we come in and we find this really good deal on this spot. It's in the heart of Broad Ripple, literally above Starbucks in Broad Ripple. Phenomenal location, and the price just happened to be fair and make sense for us. But it needed a lot of TLC.
Yeah, it did.
And so we're like, okay, we'll do it. And the guy goes, if you want to get new carpet and you want to paint, we'll give you a couple months free. And we're like, dang, let's do it. So we just jump on it with with no thought process behind it. We're like, yeah, we're in. Until we got into the whole process and realized, whoa, shit. Okay, we're painting the walls white. They were like this shit orange. And then the homies go to the Lowe's and skimp hard on paint.
The cheapest
so they get the cheapest shit. So it took 4 or 5 coats?
It probably took at least 3 or 4.
You did ask Jeremy Clevenger.
And we didn't even have the sticks for the rollers. We had to do them with our hands, going up. We had to get step ladder to go up to the top of the
But we weren't using a step ladder for a while. We used this beat up old box thing.
Yeah, I almost died.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty sketchy.
And then the carpet, so we have a good friend who works at a hardware store. He's like, yeah, man, I can get you guys the carpet for cost. Mm-hmm. And we got it at it was going to be $1,500 or whatever. And we had to get it at cost, and it came in, it was $550 with installation, which is just ridiculous. But what was so cool for us is if we didn't get it at cost, and we ended up getting a bunch of the paint at cost too, because if we didn't, we would have fucking buried ourselves.
We would have lost money.
We would have lost $2,000.
Would have been better to just pay the rent.
We would have been much better.
We wouldn't have had the new stuff.
The luxury.
Even if we had to pay, it still would have been worth it, just because it's now much more presentable. It's not done yet, but it's way more presentable than it was. It would have been so bad. We couldn't have had guests in here before.
No, but it looks good. Where the cameras are facing and what people see online.
Yeah.
It looks like we really have our shit together.
Right.
Presentation's everything.
Yeah.
But we don't. Don't even think we do.
No, we're on our way, though. We have big plans for it.
Dude, who cares? We started, where it started, though, it's so crazy because there's been a lot of advancements in the podcast. I mean, really since you've been here.
Yeah.
But over the last 3 or 4 months, the podcast, both the Zach and Jay Show and the Zach HOMOL'S Show for me have just really escalated. There's been a lot of progress and a lot of growth made over the last few months, and it's just been really cool to see because we started with earphones in our car.
Yeah,
you were on your front porch.
I was on the front porch at my parents' house.
And we didn't care if no one listened. I remember you and I talking about who cares if no one says this is practice for a while.
We just did it just because it seemed like the right thing to do.
Yeah, and I think so many of us have that calling. We know what seems like the right thing to do, but we worry about what people might think about us. Is anybody going to listen if I start a podcast? Do I have enough to talk about? And people are like, well, what do you talk about every week? I said, oh shit, I got plenty of things to talk about. So do you.
Just come up with stuff.
It's just putting into lessons and telling the story your way. And at the end of the day, all this self-talk, all this motivation, self-development, self-improvement shit, it's all the same shit regurgitated 5,000 different ways.
Yeah.
The art of war, the War of Art, every book, it's all the same shit. The contents is regurgitated. It's just said a different way. Mm-hmm. It's all relative.
Right.
So when you kind of think about it, it's people fall in love with people. They fall in love with their stories. And, when you kind of put yourself in that mindset, a lot of our following comes from people who really like our authenticness, that we're original. You're Jay Azultai and I'm Zach HOMOL'S. And they like that about us. And same things for me, the people I follow and the people that, are mentored by me, I like them. I know I have a mentor who tells me the same shit I read, but I'm still meeting with him for coffee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the person. It really is. It reminds me of the post you put on your story of Jess. Is her last name Fithen?
Yeah. Dude, she's the fucking.
I know it. She's literally just herself. And that's why her Instagram's so awesome. She'll post memes all the time. And that video that she posted about that tacky shirt that she got, dude, I was cracking up. And it had 60 comments because it was super real. It was just her. It was a great example of her and her character and how funny she is.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You just got to be yourself. And that's what we do with the podcast. But going back though, it's crazy, you know, like just, and we talked about this last podcast, like just following your calling. Like neither of us knew like why we started this journey. You know what I mean? We don't even really know where it's going. We kind of have an idea, but like we just started because we had this voice inside of us, you know, this thing that was guiding us, you know, however you want to describe that. And we just took that first step, and then that led to the next step, and things have just been placed in front of us. You know what I mean? Like Andrew being placed in our lives, he's been such a great mentor. He's helped us so much with the apparel, right? And then like you said, with this, we found a great deal. We're like, oh, let's get a podcast studio. We're looking
at like $1,000 a month places.
Oh, dude, I know. I was thinking about a couple days ago. We almost invested a lot more money into
Literally,
a smaller.
It was what, 700,
It was 750 or something for
half
a much
the size.
Yeah, and way less ideal because it's downtown. We'd have had to go all the way downtown.
All the way downtown. Like, man, things just work out exactly how they're supposed to.
It's just landed on our lap. Yeah, and then like I said, with the carpet and the paint, like literally, if you just take that first step, like life, you know, whatever, the universe, God, it puts the right things in your path, and like that's literally it though. It's just taking that first step, which is the hardest part.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I tell people this all the time, like you don't need to have everyone thinks they need to have all the answers figured out before they get started. Like we said, and maybe this, I say things all the time that when I say it, I'm like, that's so irresponsible. You shouldn't say that out loud. But then I'm like, well, I mean, it worked for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I feel like if we truly do just act, the right things and the right people and the right circumstances are going to continue to enter our life. Mm-hmm. And when they don't, it's just a good learning experience. And I talked about this before on the podcast. I'm such an action-based person that there's times where I act so fast. I'm such a fast reactor, and I'm down a rabbit hole. And I'm like, oh, fuck, was that really the right decision to make?
Yeah.
You know, and I find myself, like, sometimes not really second-guessing, but, like, was that the right decision to make? Asking myself, and I was like, even if it wasn't, I learned a whole lot from it. And with that being said, the more failures I have and the more things that if I actually learn from them failures, I don't want to fail. It's like I set out to fail at anything. Every time I set out for something, I'm like, this is the $1 billion idea. You know, it's always, it's going to be this grand, big idea. But if it doesn't, it's always a great learning experience because I look at it through a different lens. I look at my adversity, my struggles, my hard times through a lens of what can I learn from this? And I think we all have that approach. We're a lot more likely to succeed because what ends up happening is long term, if you just continue to go and I want to try to open up a car cleaning business and the detail business, whatever, and next thing you know, get a few cars or you have a couple bad experiences, someone leaves a bad Google review, and you actually believe the opinions of others, and that becomes your reality, and you don't learn anything from it. But if you take those constructive criticism or just criticism in general, and you take it for what it's worth, like, okay, this is something I probably get better at, I'll work here, you're going to make yourself a lot more successful long term, and you're going to be doing something you enjoy doing, you know?
Yeah, that's something I'm trying to work on is thinking less and doing more, which is really funny that I think we're going to do a podcast. I want to do a whole podcast on this book with Zach and Andrew and I, because Zach's on the other end of the spectrum that I'm on. I think I'm a pretty extreme introvert, and Zach's mostly, I would say, you're a pretty extreme extrovert, right?
Yeah, most definitely.
And this book that I read that Andrew recommended is called Quiet the Power of Introvert. And again, I want to do a whole podcast. I think it'd be cool. It talked about how introverts usually are quick in action. They jump into things, and introverts, I say extroverts are quick to jump into things. Introverts, you know, take their time, they step back, and they think a lot, which can almost be, you know, a downfall for me. It is at times, a lot of the time. So it's like finding that balance of, you know, not jumping into things too quickly.
What is one example of something that you've thought too long or waited too long on that hasn't came to fruition?
Probably starting my podcast.
I was about to say that. I'm trying to bring it up on this.
I knew that's why you asked me.
You know what?
I was trying to find another one because I knew that's why you asked me. I was like, I'm going to find another one, go right around them.
Last week I said, I'm calling Jay out on the podcast, so he starts his podcast. I'm so excited to hear it, obviously, Jay, because you're such a phenomenal interviewer. And it's just so cool to see you and the way you are with people. I'm like, fucking start your podcast so I can listen to it.
There's a lot of opportunities I have to overcome fear and, you know, just overcome that resistance. Like the podcast is obviously a big one, and that's going to be a lot of fun. And it's also vlogging too. You know, I'm on my show prep now, so I'm going to start vlogging next week, and I'm terrified of the camera for whatever reason. I don't know why. Like, this isn't a big deal for me because we're just chit-chatting, but like when it's just me and I got to be on the spot and talk, like, I don't know. Once I do it, I'm good. Like, I know I have the chops for it. It's just literally just beating resistance and doing it. So I have a lot of opportunities with the vlogging. I'm going to start that next week. I'm going to vlog workouts. I'm going to, you know, talk a little bit more about diet and just talk about the journey going towards the show and whatever else comes about the podcast. You know, like, just there's a lot of really cool opportunity for me going into 2019 of overcoming resistance.
Yeah, you're in a great position for it.
Yeah, and I'm already doing so awesome. I'm super stoked about where I'm at, but it's like I said, there's all these cool opportunities for me to continue to advance and not look at them as you know, as negatives, but more so as positives. Yeah, it's uncomfortable, especially, you know, like when you're in those situations when I start my podcast, when I'm vlogging, it feels uncomfortable. But then like afterwards, like that's the best feeling ever. Like when you get through that resistance and that discomfort, it's like, holy shit, you feel on top of the world. It's like,
what's so crazy? You got to battle it again tomorrow.
Yeah, and then you got to do it. But it gets easier and easier. Like for me, that's kind of like for me with talking to people, you know, and being around people all the time. Like it never goes away, really. Like for me, being at the gym and coaching people, I still feel that tension. Like I constantly feel like I'm being drained when I'm talking to people because I had to like just perform almost, and it doesn't come natural.
No, most definitely you have to perform.
For everyone does, self, but for me, as an introvert, like, and that's the way I've been my entire life. It's very draining, and yeah, but it never goes away, and it gets easier though. It definitely gets easier. Like for me, I'm able to be around people a lot more. Efficiently, and I'm able to have better conversations, and I'm able to be around people longer without just being totally exhausted. But it's still there, and same thing when, you know, like you said with videoing and podcasting, like the anxiety is still there, but it gets easier, and it just becomes something that you do.
Yeah, especially with the podcast. I remember even at first, I even discussed this, that I was a little nervous to start the podcast.
Yeah.
And, you know, now it's like,
it's just something you do.
It's just something you do. It's part of your day. You know, it's part of our day, and it's part of what we do. And, you know, how cool is that to make something that you're afraid of become so natural? You become so comfortable with things that are so uncomfortable. Like, I remember you were on that kick for a long time to train at 4 a.m. And you're always get yourself uncomfortable, blah, blah. And I hate to break this news to you guys. Like, if you're one of those guys, if you've been doing it for a month or two, it's no longer uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. You're just waking up at 4 a.m. Right. Of course it sucks, because waking up at 4 a.m. just sucks, period. But that doesn't mean you're actually making yourself uncomfortable. It becomes, what? A routine. Routines doesn't mean it's comfortable.
Right.
That's not making yourself uncomfortable. So just because you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go work out doesn't mean you're uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. So it's trying to understand, like, being uncomfortable means doing things differently. It means training at 5 in the morning to switch and train at 5 in the evening, whatever that might look like in your life.
Yeah, I'm excited because I'm going to start training in the morning starting next week most days, because that's when the guy I'm going to be doing the video work with, that's the only time you can film. So it's going to be 8 a.m. workouts. So I went from 4 a.m. workouts to 5 p.m. workouts, so now I'm going 8 a.m. workouts. So I like to change the pace, and I just started doing cardio this week. I was telling Zach about this morning, and it's nothing crazy. It's just steady state, and it's been whipping my ass though. Like I haven't done any cardio in forever, and it's really cool though, because right now I'm doing AM and PM, just 30 minutes and 30 minutes, and it's really allowing me to establish a routine again. It's only been a few days, but it's that thing I have to go do, and you feel so good after you get done, just because you get loose and you push yourself a little bit. Like you see you're 1 minute in, you're like, fuck, I got 30 or 29 more minutes to go. Like this kind of sucks, but then you push through it, and you feel great afterwards. And this morning I went at like, I don't know.
Where'd you go?
I went to Planet Fitness, bro. Shame me in the DMs is what I posted on Instagram yesterday. It's cheap. I wasn't about to spend triple or double to go to LA Fitness for cardio.
Hell no.
But this morning, though, I had my AM cardio. I went at like 8 o'clock, got in there, busted it. I felt great as soon as I got done. Even during, I listened to a podcast, was listening to like a training and nutrition podcast, learned a few things, got done, went in my car, meditated, which I haven't done in a few weeks, so it sparked that. Went and did my guided meditation, and literally for the next 3 hours, and even now, like I felt on top of the world, like noticeable, drastic difference in my mood, my outlook, my anxiety even. Like my anxiety was eased greatly, which Joe Rogan talks about a lot, with doing like crazy, like he did that Sober October where they did all that cardio and shit.
Yeah.
He's like, my anxiety was gone, so I could kind of relate on a small scale. But yeah, it's cool to switch things up, and that's something I'm doing right now, and I've really enjoyed it thus far, just a few days in.
The only consistent should be change.
Yeah.
Always changing, man. Changing things up, staying on your toes, and we get monotonous. We're a creature of our habitat. We start getting monotonous with life. If we're getting monotonous in training, we start to get monotonous with work, and we get monotonous with work and training. We get monotonous with our families, and we get monotonous in the work. It just goes that way. Mm-hmm. So putting yourself in a little bit uncomfortable, and I even use the word uncomfortable because sometimes it's just doing things differently. Just because you do something different doesn't mean it even has to be uncomfortable. So you don't have to view it as it's uncomfortable. It's just, I'm just doing something that's different. Mm. And it's just going to create more creativity. Yeah. I'm going to be more creative. Like, I know Charlie likes to go ride bicycles and shit. It's just different. Like, goes on bike trails and does a bunch of Jeep stuff. He does different. He does things. It's not that it's uncomfortable. It's just things that he's not typically doing to free his mind. And it helps that creative state. Yeah,
that was like, this conversation reminds me of doing my powerlifting meet, which we talked about a few shows ago, or a few episodes ago. Like, it was super nerve-wracking. It was the first real meet I'd ever done. There was a ton of people. There was a lot of really strong dudes, West Side guys, and I went there, and I crushed. I did phenomenal, and it just felt so good to just overcome that little fear. You know what I mean? Because that morning I wake up, I was like, man, I'd rather go, do this or do that. But then once I got there and got through my squats and everything, I was like, I fucking love this. I got done. At the end of the day, like, I just felt amazing because I had overcome that fear, however small and minuscule it really was. And it was something different too,
Yeah.
So I think there's so many opportunities to do things that, scare you and are just different in general. They don't have to scare you, it could just be different, like you said, but it's cool when it does scare you and you do it anyways.
Oh, it's always fun.
It's the best feeling ever.
It's so cool, dude.
It really is. That podcast that I was listening to this morning, I wanted to talk about that a little bit. It's cool because it's a lot of the stuff that I've been working on myself. So like HRV, right? So I've been waking up and measuring my heart rate and my heart rate variability. He was kind of talking about how you can kind of base what your recovery is like on your HRV. So it's like I don't even want to try to explain it, but it's essentially like the time between each heartbeat and how it changes. That there's all kinds of science behind how you can actually literally like track your recovery. And he was talking about like the gut microbiome and talking about sleep and nutrition and how all these different things play into your growth. And it's not just going in and lifting weights. There's so many other ways to optimize your growth. Like if you're just going in and you're training 7 days a week and your balls out training 3 hours a day, that doesn't mean you're going to grow. Right? There's so much more at play. And now with modern science, we're starting to learn so much more about how to optimize yourself, and not only how to grow, but also how to feel great at the same time. It's just really cool.
It's super cool, but it's still at the point right now where it's just a little too sciencey for the normal guy.
Yeah, I agree.
I highly agree. Science is making crazy strides right now, especially in our fitness community. I think people are really getting involved. There's a lot of great and sharp minds becoming involved. However, the normal guy listening to this podcast right now is going to wake up and measure his heart rate. This is your career. This is your job.
Of course.
So how do you pitch that to somebody, I hate to say normal, but someone who actually has a life that's not just like ours?
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because for me, like, I'm at the point where I'm taking everything very serious and I'm treating myself like I'm a professional.
Because you are.
So I am a professional. I want to be a professional physique bodybuilder one day. You know what I mean? Here the next 3 years. So I'm eating like a professional. I'm sleeping like a professional. Recovering like a professional. I'm tracking everything. You know what I mean? Like I'm continuing to learn. And yeah, it is. My body pays my bills essentially in a sense.
It's a good looking.
But you can dumb it down though. In layman's terms, you can kind of dumb it down like. Get better sleep, you know what I mean? So how do you get better sleep? You get more sleep, try to stay away from lights before you go to bed. Food wise, try to cut out processed shit.
Go back to that. Sugar. I mean, you talked about that earlier today.
Sleep.
Notice the no light before bed thing.
Yeah, so I can't remember the exact thing that they said, but like for every like hour of light you get, or blue light especially, it delays your melatonin release by like 30 minutes or by an hour or something. So if if you're watching TV and looking at your phone all the way up till you get in bed, it's going to delay your actual melatonin release like an hour or two, or something crazy like that, to where you're not actually getting into deep sleep until like middle of the night. So way more to it. But essentially, they're just saying how detrimental it can be. And I think I quoted or I referred back to the Joe Rogan podcast before on here. I can't remember the name of the doctor. It's Dr. Andrew something. He's some sort of sleep expert, neuroscientist, and he just talked about ways to improve your sleep, but also how much it can benefit you and how much it can actually affect you if you aren't getting quality sleep. It's just crazy. But that's one thing I'm trying to work on, is just not being on my phone before bed. It's so easy to lay in bed and just scroll. And you got to think too, not just the light, but your brain's going a million miles per hour too, because you're reading all these tweets, you're looking at this, you're looking at that, your brain's going so fast, and you lay in bed, you try to go to sleep, and your brain's still spinning. So for me, when I meditate before bed and then just chill for 30 minutes, maybe read a book or just lay there, and I just doze off, man, and it just feels like it's a lot more of a sound sleep, again, opposed to reading your phone and just being, your brain's just scrolling, you know what I mean, even when you're still asleep. But yeah, there's so many ways to optimize yourself, and it doesn't have, you don't have to go and treat yourself like a professional athlete, but there's ways to improve yourself, even if you're just a general gym goer, and you're going to get more out of your time in the gym. I tell people this all the time. You're spending an hour, 2 hours in the gym 4 or 5 days a week already. Why not spend an extra hour a week, learn a little bit more, apply these to your daily life, and you're going to get way more out of that hour or two you're spending in the gym. Like you're going to get more bang for your buck. You don't you don't have to do it to the level that I'm doing it or other people are doing it, but you can improve.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes, 100%. I highly agree.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna wake up and measure my heart rate.
I'm only doing it for the prep. Honestly, I don't know. We'll see.
That's not a diss at you. That's just simply me. This I just know me. That's
right.
Like, it's just like that. I'm discouraging. I don't want to discourage anyone from doing that, but I just know me personally. I'm not eating cauliflower. I'm not waking up to test my
Right.
heart rate. Like,
Right.
you know, you're treating yourself just a little bit differently. Not that I hate to say that I'm not dedicated, because I truly believe I'm dedicated to my craft. It's just a different type of
Yeah, and it's different when you're doing
approach
a
that I have.
bodybuilding show as well, because like every inch counts. You know what I mean? Like when you're trying to get down to 6% body fat, 5% body fat. Not that it doesn't play a role, you know, when you're doing a strongman competition, but I think it's a little bit different. And I'm also the type
Let's not even say a little greatly different.
Right.
You know, it's way. I mean, dude, I go
tracking my food. I'm literally like to a gram, like.
Yeah.
And
And I hate saying this, but fucking bodybuilding requires way more discipline than strongman.
in a different way, it's just different discipline.
Yeah, but also most strongmen don't eat like, I mean, not eating that food, but like most guys can eat Oreos, and you can get away with a lot of stuff in strongman and powerlifting that you can't quite get away with in bodybuilding. You know, at the end of the day, it's like you're talking this really sweet science.
Mm-hmm.
It comes down to like, I need to keep as much muscle as possible and lose as much fat as possible.
Yeah, that's
when
true.
you're at 6%, you don't want to lose very much muscle to get there. You want to be able to maintain all the muscle,
Right, it's
and just
gradual.
burn all the fat.
Mm-hmm.
That's hard to do.
It's perfect for me though, because I'm like super anal. I love everything to be.
Bodybuilding's for you.
Yeah, I'm super anal. I just love to have everything tracked. I'm not a very organized person, but when it comes to like my body and stuff, I love to have my weight, you know, tracked, and I love to have my meals tracked, because I never used to track my meals. And
You're
and now-
organizing your work too.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
think you're like I gotta call it this time.
Right.
Boom, boom, boom. You're very like.
Yeah, and I do have all these Google Sheets for all of my like expenses and my income, so I am pretty organized. But
With your clients, I look at the things you do with your clients. You have
Yeah.
all this info on them and stuff. So it's like
It just goes
maybe
back-
it's like you're not just very organized in the things you don't care that much, like your car.
yeah, and I think also just comes down to like I'm just extremely hard on myself, and I nitpick everything. You know, you obviously know that.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it. But yeah,
Do you find yourself being like sometimes like so productive with your work and just everything you consume with that you're lazy? Maybe like at cleaning your house, your car. Because I know we're like, I say this, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And I look at my car and I'm like, ah, fuck.
Yeah, I can see that. You only have so much energy. You know what I mean? You only have so much focus and in motivation in general. It's funny because I paid Dylan to clean my car last week. I knew he could use a couple extra bucks, and I was like, you know, will you clean my car? And I threw him some money. I was like, I win. We both win.
That's a win-win.
Yeah, for sure. And I could definitely see that, though, because when you get home from a long day and you've just been grinding all day, you don't want to clean the kitchen. You don't want to clean the bathroom.
So you do that whole car thing out because you're trying to tell me your car's clean right now. Is what you're saying.
It's not that clean, though, because I went home and there were kids in there. My nephews were in there with muddy shoes. And
How was
this and
Christmas?
that. Dude, it was a blast. I went home for like 5 days, went to see Joanna, went home. My sister and her husband just bought a rehab house, a remodel.
Oh, cool.
Dude, it's so crazy because I can't do any hands-on stuff like that, but he's like a total master. Like he works 60+ hours a week and then comes home and does all this crazy work. And literally they bought this house and they're going to redo it from like the ground up, tore everything out. They're redoing this and that. And it's just amazing to me to see, you know, someone that can actually do that kind of
How
stuff.
cool was that? To be, I can't envision that.
No.
Like I know Rich, for instance, does
Yeah,
all the work
same
for us.
thing.
He's like, yeah, we'll do this, and this. I'm like, my
Yeah.
brain doesn't work that
Everyone's
way.
got different talents, man. It's so crazy. Like once you find what you're actually good at, and it's interesting, you know, from the outside in looking at that because he works again a normal job. He's like, you know, has a great job. He's like a foreman for a big steel company and works a lot of hours though. But like his passion, I think, would be to flip houses. You know what I mean? And go in there and do that full time. It's just like having kids and trying to get to that point. But it's like, man, I would love to be able to see him do that.
You know, you could thrive a lot more doing that.
Yeah, and he would love it a lot more.
I think
There's so many people like that.
I think a lot of us undermine our skills that can actually make us money.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, for instance, I undermined how great I was at lifting weights and coaching people for a long time.
Yeah, because you were this good. You're better than you ever were, but you were also really good 5 years ago before you were even doing this.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I was doing it for free. You
Yeah.
know, I was just helping people to local gyms, and I didn't realize how good I actually was. Like, I undermined it because it was such an easy. It came to me so easy that I didn't think the skill was worth any money. I didn't think I'd be able to have monetary value based off of my skill. It's crazy because I'm just now starting to like understand that most people already either they might not know what they want to do, but they already have a skill that they really enjoy doing, but they don't think it can make them money. And I'm finding this with just like a lot of like friends and family around right now. Ashley's dad, he's 60, he's going to turn 60, and he just went through his whole career change, and he's just like so late in life, and he's just like, I'm just really searching for happiness, and it's such an inspiration to me to be able to switch, you know, I'm tired of being this way, I'm ready to be this way. And he's switching his work, and it's really cool though, as he's doing it, you know, me and him are, you know, and Ashley and I are like kind of talking, like, man, you have so many skills. Like he's been a mechanic for his whole entire life, and he's worked with race teams, and he's also did photography for the Indy 500, and like all kinds of cool stuff. And he has the ability to make money in so many different ways that he doesn't really think like, man, you could just tell people in your neighborhood, like he's in small groups and stuff, you tell people in your neighborhood that you're detailing cars, and you could get, $150 a car. You can get 5-6 cars a month or 10 cars a month. That's $1,500 a month.
That's a lot of money.
And he's just like, yeah, I guess you're right. I probably could, but he undermines because it's such a skill to him. Like his cars are immaculate.
And it's a hobby for him too. So it's like, man, this is just my hobby. I can make money off of this. Like,
yeah. But how about that? How about that though? Like I remember running into that. Like lifting was my hobby, like my life. I fucking love that shit.
Right.
When I started first doing it, I lost my love for lifting a little bit because I'm like, is this really something that I want to make money off of, or is this just a hobby for me? Because I think some of our hobbies we don't necessarily want to make. It's something we do that we don't have to like pair that real life to. Like we do. Usually, I'm saying all the time, we do hobbies. Our hobbies are to get us away from what's real in the world. Get us away from like playing golf, play 18 holes for a few hours with your homies. 3-4 hours away. You're 3-4 hours away from the real world. You can worry about bills, kids, nothing. It's golf time, right? Now when money becomes attached to it, and you start being more focused on your stroke and practicing your game a lot more, right? And a little bit more hard on yourself. That was hard for me when I first started the gym. And I had to find this harmony within it. And I had to find like, hey, how can I love and continue to grow in this while I'm still encouraging and helping other people grow too? Because I was kind of pulled and conflicted. Like, does God want me to be a master coach and trainer and encourager, or does he want me to be an elite athlete? How am I going to be both?
Yeah.
And it just like it took me a while to realize I can be both. Because when I first started working, I squatted 700 for like 6 months in a row, bro. Like every month I was hitting 700 plus before I opened the gym. When I opened the gym, I've only taken 2 700-pound squats since. It's been 3 years now. I sacrificed a lot to open the gym, including my own progress for other people's progress. It was a very selfless act I did. And when I did that, I was just asking, maybe God, this is where you want me, and I'm cool with only being a 600-pound squatter if that's what you need from me, right? If that's what you need. And it took me a while to realize that I can do both, and it's finding that harmony in doing both.
Yeah, it's interesting when you make your hobby, because lifting weights used to just be a hobby for both of us, and now, obviously being both of our professions, at least part of our profession, it definitely could become, not overwhelming at times, but it can become dull. You're constantly around it. You're at the gym coaching people, and then you're going to train yourself, and then you're on calls talking about it. You're breaking down lifts, and you're doing this, and you're studying, other, you're studying, for me, studying from people on YouTube, and it's like it's constant. It's all the time, and it can become very,
dull is a good word.
Yeah, it can become very dull, and it's just like you just don't, you just want to be out of it for a little bit, which for me, I'll just leave Indy and just go totally be out of everything for a couple of days at a time, and it's so nice. But I think honestly for both of us, it's like the universe is using lifting weights as like a vehicle for us. You know what I mean? Because like when I first started lifting weights, like I loved it, but it wasn't like I loved it. I just kept going, and I didn't really know why I kept going. I just did, and it's same. Now I love it a lot more. It's become much more of a passion for me. I love the nutrition side of things. I love the discipline aspect. I love the training, the different types of training, the physique you can achieve. But it just seems like this vehicle that the universe is using to continue to push us to a place where we can influence people and for whatever reason. But it's that vehicle.
Oh, most definitely, it's been my vehicle. I mean, it's my platform. It's where I get my speaking engagements from. It's my podcast. Everything based off of lifting weights.
Yeah.
100%. Like at the end of the day, that's my rock.
Everything comes back to that.
Everything comes back to it, which is hard for me at the beginning. It's like, well, if I'm not strong, how are people going to listen to me? And blah, and how is it? How am I going to hold any value if I start dropping off with my numbers and stuff? And that was kind of crazy for me to articulate that when I first started training. I mean, I've had great lifts since then, but like most definitely, the first one I can really think about the most is my squat. My squat suffered the most. My deadlift, I was able to keep up. My bench continued to progress, and now I'm obviously progressing myself in the strongman space and doing well. And relatively speaking, people are like, I would love to squat 600 or whatever it is. Like right now I'm playing around 650 squat with reps, and that's great, whatever. But man, I mean, in my mind, I was thinking I'd be hitting 800 right now.
Yeah, life had different plans for you.
Yes, but life had different plans, and I was willing to go with it. I think when we start to, I believe we all need to go against the grain, but there's also need to watch, like, I think we all live in this, when you start to live in a flow state, you got to watch going against the grain sometimes. Like, once you go against it, you break that mold, then you start living your life in a flow state, kind of going where you're supposed to be going, forcing things. I've forced a lot of things. Ooh, this is the way to do it, and I get into it, I'm like, this is probably not the way. There's probably a much easier and more efficient way, and it's typically the easiest way. I think sometimes we overcomplicate things, especially with business and young entrepreneurs and young business owners, whatever you want to call yourself. we overcomplicate things. We think we need a year business plan laid out. We need to have this and this figured out. Fuck, I didn't have none of that shit figured. Like for sales tax, for instance, I didn't pay sales tax for 2 years on the gym, and I owed a bunch of sales tax. But I fucking did some research on it. It was only like an extra $200 in penalties that I have to pay if I paid it by this certain date off of all the sales tax. So what I did, I don't know if I ever talked about this before, but what I did is allotted myself more cash to put back in the business. I was willing to gamble on myself because I thought I thought I'd pay off more. So I didn't pay sales. I'm not saying to do this. You know, it's not advice I'm giving you, but this is what I did because I gave myself more money to operate my business with. And you know, you can get yourself in a lot of, now this is sales tax, this is not taxes. Two different things. This is sales tax. So I allotted myself, like I said, I saved myself, you know, a couple $1,000s each year to get myself into the position that I'm in now where I can pay it monthly. Right. But I saved that money because at first I was like, well, I got $200 left. Do I put $100 in my pocket to eat this month and $100 back into the business, or do I pay my sales tax? It was very simple. It was a very simple answer for me.
Interesting. It's crazy how many people are self-employed in today's world. It's so easy to be self-employed, and it's going to be really interesting. And Gary Vee talks about this a lot. I know I quote him a lot, or reference him a lot. But it is going to be interesting when the market goes down, right? And we see a downturn because the market has been so good. You know, just the economy in general, I guess is a better way to put it, has been so good since I can remember. I remember in 2006, 2007 when it went down big time because my dad is self-employed and it affected him massively.
It was on the housing market.
Especially that was what caused it, you know, was the housing boom. And my dad predicted it too. He's such a smart guy, man. Like he knew it was coming. Like people were getting mortgages that weren't qualified for mortgages. Like the banks weren't even looking into people's incomes or anything. Like they were basically just giving out loans essentially. And there's a really cool movie called The Big Short that kind of
what's it called?
It's called The Big Short. You'd like it. You and Ash would like it. And it kind of plays out what happened. But yeah, I saw, you know, firsthand how it affected my dad being self-employed. Literally, he went from, you know, making, let's say $150,000 a year and to making $20,000 a year, $25,000 a year, which is a huge drop off. And there was no work to be found, you know, and that things got tight for the first time in my life. I remember, like, you know, we had to kind of watch our money for the first time, which was kind of weird. And thankfully my mom still, you know, had a job and she was still making the same amount of money as a teacher. But that's going to happen again, maybe not to that extent that it happened in 2006, but like the same thing's happening now. So many people are getting all these loans and refinanced, and you know, and then all the college debt, which is probably going to be another boom. That's kind of what Gary Vee predicts. That's the next big boom.
It's coming.
People owe $100,000 plus, and they're not.
How many people owe it to?
A lot of people. So when that happens, though, like
no one I know.
Only the people that are in this for the long haul, you know, and being self-employed are gonna make it through. The people that are like faking it and are just doing it to do it, like they're not gonna make it through. Like it's gonna become really tough for a lot of people at a certain point, and it's gonna wean out a lot of people.
Yeah, I would most definitely say so, and especially for small business. I think about my business, for instance, and this was a thought of mine. I know the economy is going to be up and down, and I kind of got it in the marketplace when it's pretty well, you know, and the business, we've been very blessed and been very thankful, and that's another reason that I was so adamant on building culture. You know, I want it to be the point where that everything does blow, that you're not cutting your Iron Valley Barbell gym membership because you have this extreme loyalty to the gym, that you're like, this is part of my monthly income. You know, that's why I also made sure I kept that at an affordable rate. You know, and I keep most of all my products, the ebooks and everything, at an affordable rate, and I connect on, you know, I be authentically me. I connect on an emotional level with my following, with people. They're not just my followers or my friends. Right. You know, and everyone listening to this podcast, you know, if you have ever reached out to me in a DM, you know that I have responded. I responded 98% of my DMs, and the 2% is because I didn't respond to because I probably missed it, and it was, you know, it was complacency. Like, I'm sorry, I missed your DM. If you're one of these people, DM me back. Let's talk. You know, so it's like, I think by building this culture, they're going to withstand those storms. And that's something for me that I was just real adamant on, building a culture to withstand storms. Yeah, and building multiple streams of income I think helps too. Oh yeah, you know what I mean? Because even if they all take a hit, you're still making a certain. If all your income's from one source, then it can become even a little bit more difficult. That's what I talked about on a podcast before. I said as soon as I started online training, I said this ain't gonna last long. What I gotta do? And it was open a gym. This ain't gonna last long. What I gotta do? I'm always just thinking, what do I have to do next? Like this is not like I opened the gym. This is not gonna get me to the point that I want to be. Does that make sense? Yeah. I just knew nothing that I've done even yet. That's why I'm working on more. I mean, really just growing myself with the public speaking, and I'm taking courses like life coaching and business organization skills, like different courses I'm taking now to get certified, certifications in. So I can go to these corporate lunches with a certification to say that, hey, I'm gonna motivate the fuck out of y'all no matter what, with or without the certification. But sometimes you need that piece of paper to show, no, I'm advancing myself. I'm constantly pushing to that next thing, in moderation. It used to be all in. I'd suffer so much family time and so much time with my friends and things that really helped fill me back up, which sucked. Now it's a little bit more moderation, so I'm thinking of things, I'm planning way ahead. So like my goal is, by 2019 or 2020, I'll be full, like I'll actually have like an office for like life coaching, and I'll be able to start getting into that and working directly with people. But maybe even 2021. But like right now I'm planning at least 2020. I'll be taking some people at least online because I've already started. I've already started doing my coaching is self-development also, and so I'm trying to just continually pair all my skills together the best I can and really try to utilize the gifts that I've been given and prepare for the future. Because if I try to do this whole new endeavor I'm working on in 2 or 3 years and the market crashes, it's going to be a horrible time to get involved. Start getting involved now, get some skin in the game.
Right.
So I think anybody out there listening to this, get some skin in the game. Don't wait.
Yeah, just act if you have a calling, at least.
I remember this idea that I was going to wait till I was 35 to open a gym. I was going to open a gym back home. I was going to wait till I had my house almost paid all the way off, paying double payments in the coal mine. And once I turned it was like 33 or 35, I'd be able to afford a gym. That was my plan.
Yeah.
I'm like, glad that didn't pan out. I'm really glad that didn't pan out because none of this would have been practical or possible. So, sometimes you just got to act and you got to be willing to take a chance. Take a chance on yourself. It's crazy that so many people, everyone listening to this podcast, if you're employed right now, you're taking a chance on an employer being employed.
Yeah, you
took a chance on somebody else. Like, why don't you believe in yourself that much? Because at any given time, you can be let go. It don't matter your fucking gig.
Yeah, you can be shit. I think I talked about this on a podcast a long time ago. My aunt, she worked at the same company for like 20, 30 years as an assistant, like to some of the CEOs. And one day, her and a bunch of other people just got laid off, out of nowhere. And it's kind of funny because then she got another job that she absolutely hated, and she was making way more money than ever. She fucking hated though. She was there for maybe 3 months, 4 months. Finally just decided to quit. Gave her 2 weeks notice, quit. And it's funny how the universe works. 2 or 3 weeks after she quit this job, she somehow linked back with some people she had worked for in the past, and she just got the best job of her life. It's funny, she's working at this marijuana business.
Right on.
And everyone's super laid back, of course. And she literally went from the most stressful job of her life that she absolutely hated to making a jump and leaping and quitting the job to now this, fell into her lap, and it's the best job she's ever had.
How cool.
She freaking loves it.
God bless. That's what's up. That's
so
super cool, dude.
Yeah, you guys got to make that jump sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to be willing to do it, you know what I mean, and see what happens, especially if you're feeling really called to do it, if you feel like there's that voice or that, like you said, that pull to do it, try it. I want to encourage you to try it, and I don't know if I always agree with, you can't have a plan B, like, have a plan B. Have an idea. Like, if this fucked up, I could always go do this. That doesn't mean you're working on your plan B. You need to be fully invested on plan A. But have an idea, if it fails, what you can do for plan B.
Yep.
And there's just so many ways to make money right now, too, man, to keep your family afloat for, a short period of time. Ubering, Uber Eats, selling shit online, eBay, flopping product,
There's so many people flipping shit.
There's just ways to make money. There's a lot of ways to make money that, you can bartend, wait, to pay people. So, like, you can work a few odds and ends jobs to fit a schedule so you can start creating, going back to college, or you starting a business. Like, you're able to do this now because there's just ways to make money that doesn't require going to work from 9 to 5. And, if everything blew up in my face and Barbell was gone and everything that we do is just gone, and it was just a different life for me, like, I'd see myself, like, Ubering. Like, I would just do, like, in bartending, like, I would do odds and ends stuff. I would use my skills and my creativity of being an outgoing, fun person to be around to bartend and make cash. Like, I would just figure something out that didn't require me to do something I didn't want to do.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't think we could ever go back to doing shit we don't want to do at this point.
No, it's too.
We've seen too much.
I've been involved. Like, I can't work for people again. I've kind of been involved with working with myself too long. That I feel like it's something I can't go back on. And I think most I'd say entrepreneurs I haven't been talking to, most self-employed people feel the exact same way. And I think that everyone listening to this podcast is not going to be a self-employed person. However, if you're working a position that you don't like, open your mind up, try some new things, and test the waters, see what happens.
Yeah.
Be willing to step out on, well, they don't have a 401k, Zach. they don't have retirement planning, we don't have insurance, blah blah blah. Like, then never take the chance. Then just fucking be miserable. If that's truly it, if the 401k is holding you back, homie, you don't really fucking want it. If the life insurance is holding you back, you don't want it. If the insurance is holding you back, you don't want it. I know you got obligations, you got priorities, but if you are not willing to make a change, stop fucking complaining.
Yeah,
just fucking live with it. Be happy with your situation and start putting more positive energy into the universe. But if you're going to sit there and complain about why me, poor me, I can't do this because I got a family and I have to have insurance for my family, I get it, you do. But if you're not willing to take a chance for 6 months or 8 months to build something, for a year to build something, because the risk don't outweigh the reward, then you better shut the fuck up and handle your business like a man or like a woman. Handle your business like an adult. Don't just sit there and complain about your situation because you're just putting more negativity in the world. Nobody wants to be around you.
Negativity is the worst.
It's the worst.
Everyone knows those type of people.
Get away from me.
Yep.
How do you handle negativity when you're around it? I know we're pretty fortunate.
Yeah, I'm not around it very often, and if I am, I try to get out of it as soon as possible. But yeah, I don't really have necessarily a plan. What up, Ash? I don't really have a plan for when it happens, but just get away from it and not go back to it. Like if I have a friend that's super negative all the time, I'm not gonna hang out with that person. You know what I mean? If I'm working at a place where everyone's fucking negative, I'm not gonna work there very long. So it's just getting out of it as quick as you can.
Yeah, I think staying neutral helps a ton.
Yeah, not getting too involved in the conversation for sure.
You do a real good job of staying uninvolved in conversations.
Yeah,
I'm trying to learn a little bit
unintentionally.
I'm like,
sometimes
I'll say something to Jay, like waiting for him to say something. He won't put any advice in. I'm like, motherfucker, you don't want to talk about it, okay?
Just kind of look at you.
That's cool. I enjoyed the podcast.
Yeah, that was fun. You got anything else?
Yeah, man. What you got?
New Year's this week.
Next
week. This weekend.
High state
we got a big
college football.
We got a big weekend of college football, UFC fights.
High state plays. What do you think about Jones?
I don't know, dude. I just want to root for him. I don't care about any other shit. I just want to root for him on Saturday. There's too much politics surrounding it right now.
Yeah,
but,
it's hard for me to like John Jones right now. I want to watch him fight because he's one of the best MMA mixed martial artists to ever live. But it's just hard because he keeps letting us down, and up and down. And who knows if it was a trace amount of steroids or whatever it is. I just think at the end of the day, though, like he's just one of the guys getting caught. Yeah. And I think we can all just, we talked about that on the podcast before. He's just one of the guys who got caught with it.
Right.
This happens to be in a spotlight about. You don't see any other guys in the spotlight nearly as much as you do as him. And he's made a lot of bad decisions in his life, and maybe he'll continue, or maybe he won't. But you just want to hope that guys like that, people are brutal in the comments, man. I've been looking at Dana White's comments.
I've
been looking at John Jones' comments, and people are just fucking on them, dude, and just calling him a cheater and calling all this stuff. And maybe he is, or maybe he isn't. But who are you? Who are you to go out of your way to call somebody else all these names and to release all this negative energy with all the shit that you have fucking done wrong in your life? Ain't none of us perfect. So you're something bust John Jones out on his sins and the things that he already knows he done wrong. You want to fucking escalate it even worse,
right?
And point out his flaws and put it on social media and get a whole big hate group going against him. Like, come on, people. We all fuck up. We all make mistakes. Quit acting like imagine if your life was in the spotlight and then you did something fucking dumb and everyone saw it and everyone busted you. How would that make you feel? It's like, treat people how you want to be treated. Whatever happened to that? When social media came prevalent, people were just like, oh, fuck it.
Say whatever they want.
People just say stupid shit to say it.
All the time, and it's anonymous, especially on YouTube. But I'm super pumped for the fights, though. Either way, I'm pumped for all the football games Saturday.
I don't think John's going to win.
I think John's going to win. I think Alabama's going to win. I think...
let's do some predictions.
Okay. Clemson. Also, they're out. Clemson's going to win. You got, what, some money on that game, right? Clemson, Notre Dame?
Oh, yeah. I guess you are. Don't we?
I didn't make the bet. I might. I still got I got a day.
Yeah, let's make it. You said 300 or 500?
They just lost one of their best defensive players.
I don't care. It don't matter. Notre Dame fucking sucks.
I know. I think so, too. We'll see.
Nobody's going to be pissed. Listen to this. I'm going to get a text message. Fuck you. I like Notre Dame. I have nothing against Notre Dame.
I just don't believe it until they win a big game. Because the last big game they were in was against Alabama like 5 years ago.
The last big game they won was in 2000.
So I'm going to take Clemson. I'm going to take Alabama over Oklahoma. I'm going to take Cyborg over Amanda Nunes. And then I'm going to take John Jones. And then Tuesday I'm going to take Ohio State by 50.
Okay. I'm with you with all that. John's going to lose, though.
Oh, no.
I just think he's a little bit ring rust.
But Gustafson hasn't fought. John Jones has fought since Gustafson So it's been less time for John Jones than Gustafsson.
Oh, I thought he had a fight.
I know a lot of people think it's been like 2 years for. I think Gustafsson. I'm pretty sure
the game changes then.
Okay,
sure. Never mind.
It's the same ring rust for both of them.
Fuck.
Yep. So
Never
going
mind.
back on that.
I might have to. I could have swore Gustafsson had a fight a couple months ago.
Yeah, no, I think I heard somebody saying that it's about the same.
Are you sure on this?
Pretty
This is going to
confident.
determine my prediction.
I'm pretty confident, like 99% sure.
All right, I'm gonna go with John.
Okay,
John. John
Cyborg.
Clemson.
What about the other fight, Cyborg or Nunez?
I think Cyborg's gonna beat Nunez.
She's a dude. Yeah, she's a badass.
Yeah, but Nunez
in a
is
good
pretty
way.
badass.
She is, but she's super undersized.
Yep.
Cyborg's a lot bigger than her, and she's
Kind of like a man.
Cyborg could literally fight in the men's, like for real, in like the 125, especially 135.
How long
guys.
would it take Cyborg to knock you out?
Ah, man, how big of a room? You know,
Just a ring, regular ring.
Regular ring. I wouldn't engage, so probably 15, 20 seconds. I could probably get around, and then eventually.
I think I'm quick enough to move around for 30
close the
seconds. So
distance.
you can miss.
Well, if you got 30 seconds, then I'm gonna give myself like 10 seconds then, because you actually know boxing, so I'll give myself 10 seconds then.
I think that's funny. It's crazy, man, to watch these girls, like watching Ronda Rousey come up and just really laid the pavement out for all these chicks to fight. You know, she was kind of like she led into it, and she was great, and it was awesome. And you know, the competitions continues to increase. You know, like when Ronda came in, she's like, "Whoa, is anyone gonna beat this girl?" Then now we have girls that are coming out the woodwork, like they've been fucking doing push-ups since they was a baby. You know, and they're fighting. It's just so awesome to watch women in this competitive gladiator sport.
So many high-level women.
And just being total badasses. Like, I think I've always thought women are way more badass than men. Fucking, they produce all the babies, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, they do all the housework and they take care of their man. Like, they do, like, women are just, they're badass, dude. And to see them now in our realm of warrior mentality and fighting and shit, I just think it's so cool. I think it's so badass. It's very empowering as well to watch. So I'm always encouraged by the female fights. I like to watch them. So I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm excited to watch it go down.
I'm excited for that one. Last football game is Michigan, Florida. I don't know who I want to win in that game.
I think Florida's going to win. You know why?
Why?
Because Caleb Spencer goes to the gym. I hope he listens. If not, I'm going to tell him this podcast. He's the biggest Ohio State hater. He's in every
I saw you tweet it. Somehow, like, I didn't even go to your tweet. I went to the actual tweet, and I saw your response somehow.
Yeah, to Caleb.
You said that, no, it was some other guy. You said this guy's always hating on.
Yeah, Caleb.
Oh, okay.
Well, it was to Caleb had commented.
Yeah, I was like,
But it's funny because he just hates Ohio State with, like,
okay.
he has this, like.
Is he a Michigan fan?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hardcore.
Yeah.
Like, polar,
Poor guy.
Yeah, I feel bad. And he keeps on like, yeah, we support you, blah, blah, blah. Michigan. I'm like, y'all ain't never won against Ohio State, says Urban's.
I've only seen like 2 losses in my entire life, so.
It's good, it's good to be a Ohio State fan. I know Michigan fans, I would be the same way. I'd be bitter. And I mean, I remember even like some sports analysis were talking about that, Ohio State fans should want Michigan to win this because it's not becoming a rivalry
A lot
anymore.
of Ohio State former players even said that. I don't
You
know
know
how
why?
I feel about it.
I think absolutely not. Say you fucking keep beating them,
Yeah.
and you make it not a rivalry because that's how bad they fucking suck.
Right. Well, the argument was that it makes the Big Ten look better, and then if we're in this situation again in in a year or two, where we have one loss and it's us versus another conference, then they would put us in. That's
They need to go 8 teams.
We just
They need to go 8 teams,
or we just need to not lose to stupid teams. That would get us in the playoff too. So.
Did I talk about this on a podcast yet? Why they won?
Who?
Purdue.
No.
I mean, Purdue. Like they played a fucking.
Is that
phenomenal
Tyler
game.
Hines kid?
Dude, that Tyler Trent, man, he has the
yeah.
most phenomenal story, dude. He's just such an inspiration and such and there's just so much energy going into that game, man. There's players and such an amazing story that kid has, and
it's the perfect storm.
Really praying for that kid right now through all the adversities facing with cancer and his life on the line and. It's just it was really cool though. At the end there's a spot. Of course, I want Ohio State to win, but when I saw Purdue win and that how that built up with Tyler and like how the community just rallied behind, it's like what a great like David versus Goliath type of thing. And I was bitter a little bit because we're not in the college playoffs, but fuck, what a cool. If we're gonna lose to anybody, at least they're 30 minutes away.
Right. Well, it sucked for me because I was actually at the game and it was it was freezing cold. We went into the game. And my parents and I were like, maybe we'll be able to leave at like third quarter. We'll probably be up like 35. We left in the third quarter and we were down by 30.
Yeah.
So that was fun. But.
Me and crew started bonding at Purdue. That was our first real bond session. Huh. I carried him on my shoulders.
Yeah.
Of a pitcher, me carrying him on my shoulders.
That's cool.
He was just a little fart.
Little fart.
Still nice, just a little bit
Shout
bigger of a fart. Hey, this is a cool podcast. I love just chatting. I love catching up. I feel like we get to catch up on a podcast. This is cool. I hope we lay some good advice, guys. We're really looking at building the podcast right now. We got a couple more potential sponsors. Really excited about that. We'll be dropping more information after the new year about that. And we're not going to bore you guys with 30 minutes of ads before the podcast. So always know we'll be real and authentic. And thank you for supporting it. We really appreciate it. Don't forget to leave a like. Leave us a comment. We really, if you listen this far and you're still listening to my dumbass talk, please give us a comment. Give us a 5-star rating. If you didn't think it was good, just go, move on. No one cares. And so like I said, appreciate you guys. Find me at Zach Hummel.
Yep. Have a nice new year and be safe.